I truly want to say this. Tonight was one of those nights where I really stepped back and say there are still real boxing guys out there that speak the truth about boxing and have their own opinion. I may not agree with your opinion, but I realized that it was yours, and I don't think that it was in line with the narrative of the norm. It was your opinion. I appreciate that. I thank you guys for just being authentic, and that's important. We got to stay authentic and organic, man. We got to stay that way because boxing is dying right now because there are no authentic and organic guys out there.
Check it out, Mr. Boxing Today. I want to go to you here, and I want to pose this question to everybody. So, first, would you rather see, if you had an option, if it was up to you, would you rather see Undisputed at heavyweight next year, right? Joshua, Fury, or a Trilogy with Wilder and Fury? Which one of those two options, if you could only pick one for 2021, which one would you pick?
Well, I got to stay consistent from the very first time I made a YouTube video 10 years ago. I want to see Undisputed. I haven't seen Undisputed. Well, we haven't seen an Undisputed champion. It's been since 1999. That was the rematch of Lewis versus Holyfield, right? So, yeah, man, then we have to go through the Klitschko era where it was two brothers, they're blood brothers, not going to fight each other. So we have to stick with the two-headed monster. Dude, I am like starving for an Undisputed fight right now. I know that Joshua and Fury, a lot of rigmarole is going on right now between those two, but I want to see Undisputed. I've been talking about Undisputed, man, when Parker had a belt and Joshua had two and Wilder had one, and now it's down to just Tyson Fury and Joshua. So in short, I want to see Undisputed by far.
Okay. Dave, you just came in here. What's going on, man?
What's going on? What's going on? How you doing, brothers?
97 Rough. I'm posing the question. If you had an option, Undisputed or Trilogy at heavyweight?
Undisputed. Trilogy about what? About Tyson and Wilder?
Yeah. Fury and Wilder, yes.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really cares for it, to tell you the truth. You
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm excited about where it's going.
Is that Grandpa Campbell there? It is, man.
One more time, talk about me. You don't know me like that.
Hey, Nate, used to have you on leaving the ring all the time. I remember when we had you on with Timothy Bradley, and Bradley didn't come in. His reception was really bad, and you told him, you said, hey, Bradley, you need to get away from those Metro phones, man. You got to get off those Metros and get yourself a real phone.
And the bad part about it was I had a Metro at the time, too. He had a cheap Metro, though.
Oh, wow. He did. What do you say to that? Hey, Nate, what about you? Trilogy or Undisputed?
I don't care if Deontay Wilder ever fight again. I don't think I'll ever watch. I don't care who he fight. If he fought a KKK Klan member, I'd probably bet on a Klan member.
Oh, come on, man.
I damn so said it. I said it again. Dude, I'm just different like that, dude. Hey, that dude sitting up top up there, he know what time it is. When he went at Mark Breland, he lost me forever, bro. Until he openly apologizes, I'm done. I'm done with it.
He's not gonna apologize.
All right, and guess what? I'd rather get my ball sack slammed in the car though than watch him fight.
Oh,
I
he's on Wilder over the Klansman for sure. But hey, a milk car.
Y'all asked for this tonight. I was minding my business, by the way.
Trilogy or Undisputed, a milk car?
I mean, I've been saying it
on this show, and I've been saying it for months on the Leave It in the Ring main show. I have no interest in a Trilogy fight. I mean,
nobody does.
He couldn't beat.
Don't say that, Dick. That ain't true.
He lost 150
Hey,
pounds and was like a fat shell of what he used to be. And you know, in the 12th round, he was getting rocked by that dude. And then in the second fight, he got his ass kicked and couldn't take it, and made every kind of excuse under the sun. And as Nate just said, the straw was throwing his trainer under the bus. Mark Freeman, Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, I know that.
The guy who essentially taught him the only boxing he knows, because we know JD's didn't really teach him that much. Okay, his jab was all Mark Breland. Turning his right hand into a straight right was all Mark Breland. If you look back at how Wilder used to fight, I mean, it was Mark Breland that shaped him into what he was, into turning him into the guy that did what he did against Dominic Breazeale and others. I've got no interest in seeing him fight again, man.
Okay.
And,
all right. Okay.
I don't. And after what he said about Fury too, if I'm Fury, I don't give him a rematch.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Lion Killer, how do you see it?
Undisputed. That's all that matters to me. Undisputed at every weight class is all that matters to me. I'm tired of that shit. I'm just being honest with you. You know, me and Joe talk about this stuff. You know, it's one of those things where there's so much prestige in one champion. One champion. Title holders mean nothing to me. I mean, you can get a belt for shining shoes these days. That's how bad it is. Yeah. So at this point, undisputed at every weight class, especially heavyweight. I don't know what the fuck's going on with this Bridgerweight shit, but that's another story. But definitely heavyweight, a trilogy with Wilder and Fury, I'm really not that interested either, because at the end of the day, there's two other guys holding belts. I want to see that unification. I want to see that completion, period.
Okay, all right. You want the Thanos, all the stones collect. All right.
Hey, I got a quick question for Nick though. For Nick Campbell, really quick. Which one would you watch? Which one would you watch? Would you watch a Wilder fight or a female fight? Which one would you have if you had to pick one or the other? Which one would be?
That's not a side. That's not a side to watch no TV.
He's gonna take a nap.
Is that when you pull? Is that when you pull the book out? You put a nice book out.
I'm reading some
Blacktail.
Read a nice book.
All right. It's not that I don't like women's fights. I don't like the fights they match.
No, you're right. You're right. You need the matchups. You need the matchups.
I gotta check.
My problem is that's not just women's fights. That's not just women's fights. That's fights in general.
You need the matchups.
All me and my boy Lion Killer do is complain about the matchups, and we bitch
you and everybody else. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah, I agree.
All right. Okay.
We bitch more to complain about the matchups. Hold on. We bitch more to complain about the matchups because you're expecting me to pay $79 for a matchup that we think is worth what Mike Tyson and Roy Jones was worth. $49. So and that's basically what my issue is. It's not about me not liking women boxing, because I totally support women's boxing, especially if they fight in the very best competition.
Okay, I hear you. I hear that's not what he said about 5 minutes ago, but you know, we'll take that. That's a better answer. You know what I mean?
Hey, why are you trying to rile him up again, man?
First of all,
because he's gonna go. He's gonna go.
First of all, you are full of more shit than a Christmas goose to say that I didn't say that 5 minutes ago.
Okay, I did 10 minutes ago. All right.
I just told you how I felt about women want the same money when they got the same garbage matchups.
We going live.
I hear you. Back to topic here. G Funky, what would you prefer here?
Well, everybody that's a listener to HCP and Leaving the Ring Roundtable knows I'm all about Undisputed. So that's what's most important to me in every division, especially at heavyweight. I mean, there's no better title in boxing than to be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And that's what I want to see. And you know, the Wilder Fury thing, that honestly that could wait if that's next for me. You know, I understand what these guys are saying about not want to see Wilder again. He's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way with a lot of the things that he's came out and said with no proof at all. So, you know, I understand people's issues with what he said. So, yep, I'm all about Undisputed, man.
B, same question.
Real quick.
Hold on, Milker. Let's keep it moving. Beeb,
all right.
What do you think?
Well, you hear a lot of times where fighters talk themselves into a fight. Wilder talked himself out of this fight because of all of the stuff that he was saying. And because of that only adds to the fact that more people don't want to see this third fight because of all the stuff that he said. Now, we've been talking about Undisputed since when? 2018? Now we can finally have it. Both sides, both the Fury camp and the Joshua camp are talking. This looks very doable. So obviously I'm going to go with the Undisputed because it's the more doable fight. And it's the more intriguing fight.
All right. Look, here's what I'll say. My short answer is Undisputed, but let me give you a little bit of a longer answer. Okay. Of course, I would prefer Undisputed, but I'm not like this whole nobody wants to see the trilogy and why would we want to see it? At the end of the day, two things. One, regardless how you personally feel about Wilder, that doesn't matter once the bell rings. That's number one. Okay. He still has a puncher's chance in any fight. We all know it. We know he could hurt Fury. We know he could drop him. We've seen it happen twice. I also feel that with different preparation, and if he's ready for that blitz that came, that I don't think he was ready for in the second fight, he has a shot. I wouldn't favor him, but I believe he has a shot in that third fight. Personally, all right. I think he was blitzed. I don't think he saw it coming, and I think a lot of people are overlooking the fact that first knockdown he was hurt. Okay, and he was not the same after that, and it took Fury 5 rounds, and he didn't even drop him. He was on his feet. It took him 5 rounds for them to finally stop the fight. A dude that was losing his balance, hanging on to the ropes. So I would give him a pretty decent shot, and while I would prefer Undisputed, I'm not necessarily either against the trilogy. Even though I don't buy the Glovegate stuff or any of that, I don't think he was slugged on his way to the ring. I don't buy any of that, but I wouldn't mind the fight personally. Nate,
I'd rather see Ruiz than Fury. And in terms of Undisputed, check out the Lennox Lewis documentary I just found out about this week. It's really good.
Can I say one thing about this puncher's chance thing? Of course, I respect Deontay Wilder. He's a guy that steps in the ring and he puts his life on the line. I respect all fighters. But they fought twice already. So when does the statute of limitations on this puncher's chance run out? That's all I'm trying to say. Well, they fought twice. They fought twice already. He took the shot on numerous occasions. Okay? Here's the thing about Fury. See, Fury has great reflexes. He can see the shots coming. Obviously, you're not going to see every punch coming, but he can see Wilder's shots coming, and he rides the shot. Even that 12th round where he got knocked down, he rode that shot out. Go back and watch that. He saw it at the last minute, and he rode it out. That's why he was able to withstand it. So I just think it's safe to say at this point that Fury's got Wilder. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about it that Fury's got Wilder's number.
Well, we won't know it for certain until the third fight, though. That's why trilogies matter. My thing is, I want to see a trilogy for completion's sake, but it's not more important than Undisputed.
Yeah, but
that's how I'm seeing it.
If he's always got a puncher's chance, and why not a fourth fight? Why not a fourth?
Okay. Since you mentioned the fourth fight, how many limitation of Marquez knocking out Pacquiao, right? He knocked him out the fourth fight, right?
Traditionally, 3 fights. Muhammad Ali fought Frazier 3 times, right?
Yeah, but those were competitive.
Right. Those were competitive fights.
It wasn't a competitive fight.
Didn't Patterson and Johansson fight like 4 times?
This fight was that competitive.
You can argue Marquez won three of those fights.
Right, you can. But let me just point this out there, D-Style. Is that he does have a puncher's chance. It's not like we're not saying that he couldn't win that third match, but what I'm saying is the public interest isn't there. So the amount of money they want, I mean, where are they going to get that from? But here's the other thing. What's so wrong for Wilder to go and do something else to actually bring back public interest? Fight somebody of worth, knock that guy out, and it all sparks back up again where everybody's like, hey, he's back. I think this time he's got even a greater shot of beating.
Didn't feel like that no more.
Or do that shit they did.
That's why I did the Glovegate video.
Wilder will eventually get the winner, and there's only one reason why. Because he'll probably still be the only money fight. When all the smoke is cleared, these guys fight twice. He's still going to be the other big money fight out there for whoever wins the 2 fights between the two of them.
And if
That's if Fury don't retire.
Hey, I said the same thing on another platform that he should take it up in between, work on some things. And I said, well, people say you just hate Wilder, you all this other stuff. I'm like,
I'd rather see Wilder Joe Joyce. How about that? Let's see if he, I'd rather see that.
It would be a great fight. It would be a great fight. Wilder versus Dillian White.
That too.
Yeah.
Wilder versus Andy Ruiz.
Why not?
I've been hearing y'all tap dancing. Y'all been tap dancing. Y'all been tap dancing. Go ahead, mister.
I think Wilder fighting former champions from here in America, the Ruiz fight, the Charles Martin fight, give Michael Hunter a chance. I disagree that there's like no interest because that's not true. I mean, look all over YouTube. You can look all over Instagram. Look, I'm rocking my first Wilder shirt right here. So if the fight comes on, I'm going to watch the fight, but I'd rather see Undisputed. Yeah. And as far as them fighting 3-4 times, look, we had Holyfield, Bo. I think Floyd Patterson fought Johansson about 4 times. And if you look at the first couple of those fights, they were knocking each other down 3-4 times in each fight. You know what I mean? So,
and let's be real, Mr. Boxer. Today, 2-3 years ago, they were talking about an undisputed fight with Anthony Joshua. Whether that was real or not, offers were made. They're saying that the offers weren't real. They didn't take the fight. They didn't make the fight. Sometimes you take the low ball to get all the balls. And so, that's kind of how I was looking at it then. But a lot of people, everybody's a businessman in this sport from the outside. If he had taken the fight against Anthony Joshua, he would have been undisputed champion, in my opinion. I think Anthony Joshua was ready for him. And he was being coached by Breeden.
I disagree, bro. He can't get out the way of a right hand, but that's my opinion on it.
Well, I mean, you my boy. I ain't worried about it.
Go ahead, Nate. I'm in the middle of that. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, I'm just saying the opportunity was there.
Right.
I've consistently heard y'all people are talking about. I want to see another Deontay Wilder fight with Tyson Fury. I'm talking about real boxing fans. I ain't talking about guys I'm talking real old school boxing fans, the ones that like me. I'm talking real diehards. We don't give a rat's ass about Deontay Wilder fighting Tyson Fury again. You know why?
But Nate. See, we die hard, but there'll be a whole bunch of fans that's not die hard that's going to buy the pay-per-view.
Right, but that's not true. They're not going to buy the pay-per-view. I'm going to tell you why. Here's the issue. Here's what you got to remember. You're telling me that Deontay Wilder would have gotten better leaving the best trainer that he had that he didn't listen to someone else that's not as good a trainer, who can't teach him as much that he don't listen to. Man. See, y'all don't get this. He had a Mark Breland in his corner that he didn't listen to.
Right.
You telling me he had a guy that was really, really, really trying to teach him the game, but he wouldn't listen to him. And he gonna get better with somebody else. He ain't gonna listen to him.
We've been saying that on Leaving the Ring.
So here's my question. Until you show me in another fight that you actually worked on that stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, but he ain't doing. I agree with that part of it. Yeah. I agree with that part of it. I didn't disagree with that. But what I disagreed with was he deserves to fight Tyson Fury right now, today, with what we saw the last fight. And you made the statement he didn't go down. He should have. He should have went down because he done got that. Let me tell you something. That boy beat years off his life out there. Y'all talking that shit. He liable to be half of the man he once was when he walked back in the ring.
It's worse staying up on your feet, man, because you're catching more heat, bro.
Oh, he took a beating.
I'm not. By the way, I'm not arguing that at all.
He did go down multiple times. In fact, he got knocked down when it wasn't counted as a knockdown.
Several times.
Nate, can I ask you a question, Nate?
It was off balance, bro. Like you guys got to acknowledge that he wasn't the same after the first knockdown. Let me ask.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I don't give a damn what was the problem with it.
Well, what I'm saying, a finisher would have gotten him out of there. He couldn't get him out of there.
We never said Tyson Fury was a finisher. We never called him a puncher, but he punched the shit out of him and finished him.
I'm not disagreeing with that. My point is, do you really think it's going to hurt him in the second round again?
Guess what? He might not hurt him. He might not hurt him at all the next fight. But I guarantee he can't miss him. Deontay Wilder thinks defense is that thing that goes around the yard.
Oh, yeah.
Nate, I got to ask you this question, though. The whole thing with Deontay Wilder saying, "Oh, I talked to Mark Breland and I told my whole camp that I'm supposed to go out in my shield, this, that, and the third." Any trainer worth his weight in salt would they ever
from yourself?
They would never agree to that. They would never agree to something like that.
I would never agree to that. I would
especially
have
a former fighter.
You've been around. Do you know any trainer worth his weight in salt? Would they ever agree? Yeah, if I see you in there, within an inch of your life, I'm gonna let you die out there.
How many of y'all watched my fight with Ricky Keelis? Y'all never saw that fight when I fought Ricky Keelis, one of my closest friends. He told the guy in the corner, he said, "Do not stop this fight no matter how bad it gets." I started off landing in the 30%, within 30% of everything I threw. By the time it got to like the 4th or 5th round, I was in the 40s and 50s. Ooh. By the time it got to the end of the fight, I was landing 75% of every power shot and other shot I was throwing. He never fought again. Ricky's my friend. It came to a point I was almost in tears in the ring. Dude, it happens. But Mark Breland, who understands what the longevity of a fighter should be or could be, he broke the chain of foolishness in that corner. JD's didn't give a rat's ass about Deontay Wilder because he kept pushing him out there in the harm's way. Let me tell y'all something. 270 plus pounds a man hitting on you, even if he ain't a big puncher, there's a lot of weight on your head.
Yes.
Accumulation. It's accumulation too.
Absolutely.
I don't care. I don't care how hard you hit. You could freaking drop a freaking water drop on my head. If you drop a water drop on my head 1,000 times, after 1,000 times, that shit's gonna leave a mark.
I'm gonna give you one. I got a question for y'all. Y'all remember a fighter by the name of Lavender Johnson versus Jesus Chavez?
Yes.
Jesus Chavez was not considered a puncher, but my boy is dead to this day.
Yeah.
Think about what I just said.
Yeah, I would never agree to not throw the towel in for anybody. There's no way I'd be able to like live with myself after that, knowing that I could have saved the man's life. You know, like I find that foolish that people would even believe. You know that
Mark Breland looked at him. Mark Breland looked at him like a son. Like a son. He looked at him like a son. Okay.
Well, look at what happened to the boxer out here in New York, where they changed all the rules. He stood on his feet. I'm talking about Magomed.
Magomed was my trainer's fighter.
On his feet the whole time.
Magomed was my trainer's fighter.
There you go.
Magomed was my stablemate.
But the other thing too that I have a problem is when people say that Fury didn't hurt Wilder. Fury fucking hurt Wilder in the first fight in the 12th round.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he hurt him in the 12th round
and beat him and went down, and still I gave him the round.
But I just want to clarify. I'm not disputing any of these things being said. Well, all I was saying is that Wilder was obviously not all there for about 5 rounds. I agree with the stoppage. I kind of felt they waited like a round or two a little too late. Personally, I just don't think that would happen again that early. I just don't. I think
what's ironic about all this?
I think it happened quicker.
What's ironic about all this is Wilder was saying he was getting mad at Breland, saying that he was coming back, and I'm sitting there like, nah, Wilder, didn't like he was coming back, bro. Look, out of the 19 rounds they fought, and you guys know I'm a Wilder fan. Out of the 19 rounds they fought, I gave Fury about 13 or 14 of the 19 rounds. I really don't think there's nothing else to see. He beat you. Well, the first fight I had it a draw, but I had Fury winning 7 rounds. I mean, he got the best of you fighting off the back foot. Then he stopped you fighting off the front foot. It's really like, what more else do we really want to see with this? But Wilder, he's the epitome of a guy with a puncher's chance, though. So that's the intrigue, I think, from fans that possibly do want to see a third fight.